Who are we to say कि नहीं जिस बच्चे को डाउन सिंड्रोम है ये तो स्कूल की बस 4 जमातें ही पढ़ सकता है, ये इसको डाउन सिंड्रोम है, ये जॉब तो नहीं कर सकता। क्यों नहीं कर सकता? सब कुछ कर सकते हैं। Our daughter Alaiya was born 6 weeks premature. She was born with a possible diagnosis of Down syndrome, yet she was placed in a regular nursery, and as a result, there wasn't adequate attention being given to her. She had a cardiac arrest 9 hours after her birth. She was gone for a minute. She had to be resuscitated. She was put on a vent to help her breathe. She was on a vent for 10 days. She was in the NICU for around a month. During that time when we were in the hospital, we were, by the best doctors, we were made to believe with all our conviction that our daughter's life was not worthy of living. And it was a very tough thing to go through, because when I look back now, every life's worth living. But we were basically made to believe that it is better if she passes away. And but Allah Ta'ala ne uski zindagi likhi thi. So when everybody gave up hope on her, she fought back. When no medication was working on getting rid of her infections, she fought back on her own. And महीने भर बाद हम हॉस्पिटल से रिलीज हो गए. Unfortunately, उससे ज़्यादा बड़ा ट्रॉमा उसके बाद शुरू हुआ, क्योंकि we were unable to find a single organization in the city that would be able to, forget giving us services, just be able to guide us कि Down syndrome है क्या. And we wanted the best for our child, and we found that the best healthcare clinic for Down syndrome is in the city of Boston in the US. It's inside the Children's Hospital of Boston. It's a Down syndrome clinic. I remember the first day we were waiting in the reception in the waiting area for our first appointment, and I saw a young gentleman who was roaming around the clinics. And by then I understood, the physical characteristics of people with Down syndrome, and I could tell that he had Down syndrome. And I was looking at him walking around, working in some capacity, and I couldn't figure it out. So I went up to the person at the front desk and I asked her, I said, "Who is this gentleman and what's he doing here?" And she said, "He's part of our team. He's a facilitator in the Down syndrome clinic. He works here as an employee." And I was shocked, because here I was coming from my own motherland, being told that people with Down syndrome, basically their lives are not worth living. And here there's a gentleman who is working like it's part of his daily job. And I couldn't understand it. And I think the first kind of seed for setting up KDSP was planted at that instant. जब फरवरी में KDSP शुरू हुआ तो हमें तो पता भी नहीं था, फिर हमें किसी ने बताया कि जी 21 मार्च को वर्ल्ड डाउन सिंड्रोम डे सेलिब्रेट होता है. तो उन्होंने कहा कि जी हम कराची में भी वर ग्रुप ऑफ पेरेंट्स, 4-5 हम लोग थे. हमने कहा कि कुछ हमें करना चाहिए. तो जी 21 मार्च को हमने क्या किया कि हमने एक थीम बेस्ड फ़ोटोशूट किया, और हमने आउटडोर बिलबोर्ड कैंपेन की, और कुछ उसी थीम का एक कोलाज बन के टीवी पे भी, मेन स्ट्रीम मीडिया पे चला और इस तरह. एंड कैन यू इमेजिन, उस कैंपेन के लिए हमें 10 फैमिलीज चाहिए थी who would kind of come forward and say, yeah, my child has Down syndrome, and be able to celebrate it, be in that space, in that mental space. We weren't able to get 10 families on board. We were able to get 7. So the realization that we had to start working with families before we even touched the children was from this experience. So we started a family support group. That support group meets every month. An expert comes in who has expertise relevant to Down syndrome. It gives an opportunity for families to develop an ecosystem whereby they can develop and harness social relationships. KDSP promote करता है कि बच्चों को inclusive education के environment में होना चाहिए, डाउन सिंड्रोम जिन बच्चों को है उनको आम स्कूलों में होना चाहिए, उनको किसी स्पेशल स्कूल में नहीं होना चाहिए. एंड वी स्टार्टेड गोइंग टू स्कूल्स एंड वी स्टार्टेड engaging them in conversation. और फिर कुछ schools हमें ऐसे मिले जो कहते थे यार हमें पता नहीं है लेकिन we really want to do this. This is the right thing to do. It's our responsibility. We started partnering up with those kind of schools. We also started another program in education called EPEP, Early Preschool Experience Program, whereby you get the child into a school environment and start working with them early and also start providing them therapy services within that school environment so that come the time that they're supposed to go to a mainstream school, they're better equipped. The biggest event that we do for raising awareness is our annual KDSP Carnival. It happens around March every year to celebrate World Down Syndrome Day. Last year we've done 5 of these carnivals now. Last year's attendance was over 4,000 people. And this event basically gives an opportunity for typical families of typical children to come in and enjoy with children of all abilities and to realize that we are more similar than different. हम अक्सर आप सुनेंगे लोग कहते हैं वो डाउन्स बेबी है, वो डाउन्स चाइल्ड है. It has to be the person first. पहले वो अलिया है, अलिया को डाउन सिंड्रोम है. So you have to put the person first because their identity is not defined by Down syndrome. Down syndrome is not a stigma. It should not be a label. Down syndrome is an identification that helps us understand how that child is going to develop. So don't tag them together. It is just one of the things that they possess. 3.5 years ago, this group of parents came up to us and they said कि KDSP छोटे बच्चों के साथ ज़्यादा काम करता है और ये पेरेंट्स थे उन बच्चों के जिनके बच्चे बड़े थे 16 and up. अच्छा, एक चीज़ और is important to understand at this stage is that children or people with Down syndrome have a far superior receptive language as compared to their expressive language. और ये इन बच्चों के साथ क्लासिक एग्जाम्पल है क्योंकि जब ये बोल नहीं रहे थे तो मैं सोचता था ये कैसे काम करेंगे. और इनके साथ हमने एक मैनुअल स्टिचिंग, हैंड स्टिचिंग प्रोग्राम शुरू किया. They started learning so fast and they started making these amazing handicrafts that we sell on their behalf. And 100% of the proceeds, the revenue, not the profits, go back to these kids. जब आप as parents आपको अपने बच्चे का डाउन सिंड्रोम डायग्नोसिस दिया जाता है ना, तो you go through a wave of emotions. There is a series that I don't think there's any way to bypass that, honestly. You start off with a shock. You start questioning, why me? That follows with denial. नहीं यार, ये नहीं हो सकता. I'll tell you something that I've never said anywhere on a public forum, but I'll say it today. As little enlightened that me and my wife were, we got the genetic testing to confirm our daughter's diagnosis done twice. The karyotyping, the test that confirms a Down syndrome diagnosis, we got it done once right after her birth. It came out positive. 3 months later, we were just in such denial that हम कहते थे इसको तो Down syndrome है ही नहीं. And we got another karyotype done and confirmed the diagnosis. And today we look back and सोचते हैं यार, were we in denial or what? So then denial follows up with anger, frustration. You start questioning everything. And then, if you're lucky, it leads to some kind of balance, and then acceptance. And then if you're really lucky, which I think everybody should be, is then you start embracing the journey. So the message that I would give to any caregiver, take it one day at a time. We cannot control everything in life. You have to have faith in your Creator. Do the best that you can. What I can guarantee you is that this is a beautiful journey that you have been handpicked for.